physicality will be our calling card. You know, at University of Utah, the place I was.
Welcome to Ann Arbor Spring Football here on campus at the University of Michigan. The Maize and Blue set to square off today with one team goal in mind of establishing that identity that Kyle Whittingham talked about and much more on the field as they wrap up spring practice and position battles play out as well here at the Big House. We welcome you upstairs, Jason Ross Jr. alongside Jake Butt, Caroline Hendershot with us as well. What's the big deal in this state and particularly in this town when there is a new head coach of Michigan football, Jake? It means a lot to these people, and Kyle Whittingham feels like the perfect man to lead this program.
He is the perfect hire, and that's true for a few reasons. I mean, there's a championship standard and expectation here in Ann Arbor, and when you hire a coach like Kyle Whittingham, championships will be the expectations. He is a Hall of Fame coach in the flesh. You can go ahead and Sharpie that in. But the other piece is Michigan has a winning formula. We saw that when they won the national title in 2023. Physical defense, run game, toughness, intelligence. You heard Whittingham say right there, physicality will be our calling card. But I'd say this too. You look at all the success that Whittingham had at Utah, and the context is what matters. He did that without ever having a roster inside the top 40 of talent composite. Utah had resources, not like the resources he had here in Ann Arbor. Whittingham's expectation is going to be to win a national title. Now he comes to be the head coach at Michigan with resources that he's never had in his career.
You're right. Stylistically, a couple of decades of very much consistency at Utah. Trying to translate that now to Michigan. You see the record as head coach at Utah 2005, 2025. 10-plus wins in 4 out of the last 7 seasons, 17 bowl appearances in 21 seasons, 11 bowl victories as well. That is going to be a part of the resume that we'll talk about throughout the course of this afternoon here in Ann Arbor. Now let's talk about QB1, Bryce Underwood. He's in year 2, Jake. What do you expect for him to take the jump this year?
Well, I'll say this. In order for Whittingham to win a championship, you need quarterback play. And again, to have these resources, he's got the #1 quarterback in his recruiting class in 5-star Bryce Underwood. We saw flashes. I mean, it's undeniable that Underwood is extremely talented. He's a great athlete. You see him here breaking off a big-time run, but there's more meat on the bone. I'd remind the viewers, he was 17 years old when he played in the spring game last year. He's 18 years old right now. There is so much room for growth, and to go back to Whittingham, the #1 role as a head coach is to develop your players. He's implemented a plan. Bryce Underwood has made major strides, and we'll get a little preview of that this afternoon.
Going to be fun to watch. We'll see him the entirety of the opening quarter for Michigan fans today. Spring ball here in Ann Arbor coming up on a day that kind of feels like a fall afternoon. We'll get a preview of what those fall afternoons will look like in Ann Arbor. Just getting warmed up here in Ann Arbor. Minutes away from starting up. Jason and Jake back with you up in the booth. And further dissecting this Michigan football program that has a new look to it. Jake, a new staff under Kyle Whittingham, the offensive coordinator, Jason Beck, and new DC, Jay Hill, both familiar over the last couple of decades, several ties to Coach Whittingham. And when you look at this staff, and Jason Beck, former Utah offensive coordinator, What are you expecting to see? We won't, for the fans, disclaimer, see them unload everything today in the spring game. So just out there for the people, you won't necessarily see everything, but what can you project in terms of stylistically? What do you expect to see out of these two coordinators?
Yeah, specifically for this fall, because like you said, this is going to be kind of a watered down. They're not going to show too much. That is spring football. But, anytime you go through a coaching change, the first question is, what is the identity of this team going to be? And I would say you can copy and paste the identity of that 2023 national championship team from Michigan. Jay Hill said this defense is going to be exactly like that defense that we saw from Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter. Multiple in front, multiple in coverage, multiple in pressure package. They want to keep opposing quarterbacks on their toes. Really, really exciting. On the offensive side of the ball, we know here in Ann Arbor, running the ball is at a premium. That'll be the expectation. Last year, under Jason Beck's play calling, number 2 in the country in rushing yards per game at 270. And the key there, we highlighted him, Jim Harding. O-line play is the standard here in Ann Arbor. It has been repeated over and over again, and I'll say it once again and probably many more times. Jim Harding is the best coach, offensive line coach in college football.
Well, let's go down to Caroline on the field, who's ready with Coach Whittingham.
All right, Coach, it's your first crack at kind of getting to see your new team in a game manufactured type environment. What are you most looking forward to out of this group today?
Well, first of all, great competition. We split the teams evenly. It's not the ones versus the twos or anything like that. So compete, execute, play a clean game, try to be as penalty-free as we can, and just get after each other and see what we got.
Now, of course, all eyes will be on quarterback Bryce Underwood. Everyone expecting an exciting season from him in his sophomore year. What's a successful spring game for him with some limitations that you guys have in play today?
Well, just run the offense in an efficient manner, move the chains, get the team in the end zone. Now, he'll be quarterbacking for both teams in the first quarter, so he'll take every rep. And just need to see him, in-game mechanics, just doing things that the quarterback needs to do.
Now that you're here on the field with seats filled by fans, does it feel a little bit more real to you that the fall is right around the corner and you are the head coach of the Michigan football team?
Yeah, I would say so. Now, we were here 3 times, at Utah, so it's not unfamiliar to me. But this does, kind of signify that, spring's ending, obviously, and the fall is right around the corner.
Okay, and I have to ask, is there anything more on the line today other than just bragging rights?
Absolutely. Winning team gets Texas State Brazil. Losing team gets nothing.
Yeah. And you're on the winning team no matter what, correct?
No matter what happens. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Enjoy today.
Thank you.
Not even hot dogs, nothing.
No, they get hot dogs.
They get hot dogs.
But when you're talking steaks, it kind of feels like nothing.
In comparison to Texas State Brazil, nothing. Now the defensive staff, Jay Hill, the new DC, he spent prior 3 seasons calling defense at BYU. He was also on Coach Whittingham's staff at Utah for 12 years and was head coach at Weber State on the FCS level as well, winning 68 games total there. What are you expecting out of his defense and this staff?
Well, I kind of previewed it earlier. This is going to be very similar to that 2023 national championship defense, multiple in front coverage, pressure packages. They want to be an attacking defense to confuse opposing quarterbacks and offenses. But I'll just tell you a little nugget from our coaching meetings with Jay Hill, which I think speaks to why I believe so strongly in Whittingham. Jay Hill played as a player for Whittingham. He started his coaching career under Whittingham. Obviously was the defensive coordinator at BYU last year. They led the nation in interceptions cumulatively over the last 2 years. I mean, this guy is a brilliant defensive mind, and he told us he could not wait. He was so excited to be back coaching for Kyle Whittingham. Obviously, we know him as a great coach, toughness, but what Jay Hill said is he feels Whittingham is the best X's and O's coach in all of college football. What it really speaks to, Jason, is when you're a head coach, you want to attract talent, of course, on the playing field, but you want to also attract talented coaches. The best of the best should want to coach under you. Jay Hill is one of the best of the best. He wanted to coach under Whittingham, and that bodes well for the near term and the long term here in Ann Arbor.
You can feel the energy and excitement. You can see it on their faces right now, right there. You can feel it on the faces of these fans as well. As the big house is filling up on this Saturday spring game day in Ann Arbor, the Maize and the Blue colliding next here on Big Ten Network. Take a look at our game format. Kyle Whittingham wanted to make this as much like a real game as possible. You see 4 10-minute quarters, so the first half will be normal clock, second half is a running clock, normal football scoring. Scoring team retains possession if trailing by 10+ points. No kickoffs, and then when after attempted field goal are not live, so won't see a ton of kicking, but we'll talk about the kickers, of course, as well. But let's talk running backs here first, Jake. We talked about the experience of Jordan Marshall. I know you wanted to highlight Savion Hyder as well.
Yeah, well, we have to talk running backs because that's going to be the identity of this offense. Whittingham said they're going to control the line of scrimmage. They want to run the ball. Obviously, last year, Jason Beck led that Utah offense to the #2 rushing attack in all of college football. Jordan Marshall will be the starter. He's proven, coming off a great year, but everybody here is excited. And this is what spring games are about. Freshman, the 5-star Savion Hyder. I mean, the coaches raved about him. I think we've probably spent about half our time in our meetings this week talking about Hyder. Clearly the running back 2. I'd even say he's running back 1B, if not 1A. Whittingham told us, best contact balance of any running back he's ever seen. Reminder, he is a true freshman. Also told us when he got on campus, listed at 200 pounds. He now weighs 220, and his body fat remained the same. So 20 pounds of muscle. Another key note, you know, for a lot of running backs, of course, running the ball is easy. Great pass catcher and great in pass pro, which will only bode well to his playing time early this season.
He's one of the notable early enrollees coming in. Tommy Carr is a guy who we're going to see quite a bit today as well. Bryce Underwood will QB the entirety of the first quarter for both teams. If you tuned in late, so you get to see a lot of Bryce Underwood early on, and then we'll get a look at Tommy Carr. And now got a coin flip here and some intensity. You see the competition level definitely ramping up tail end of spring practice here. They want that steak, not the hot dogs.
Honorary blue team equipment staffer Eric Endelman, and the game captains for the blue team, number 23,
got Jordan Marshall, Trey
Marshall.
Pierce.
And for the Maize team,
2 of the key guys on each side of the ball. Jordan Marshall, Jr., Trey Pierce, a senior.
Pierce, a part of that deep defensive line room that we'll talk about.
You are the visiting team today. This is the head, and that is the tail, the Big Ten logo. What is your call? Heads is the call. It is a head. You won the toss.
See, now, yellow team is saying they want the ball. I'd imagine Whittingham wants to defer throughout the fall, you know, get the ball coming out of the second half. But remember, Bryce Underwood is the full-time quarterback in the first quarter. So the yellow team, wise strategy here, Jason, maximizing the opportunities for Bryce Underwood to lead their team.
Absolutely. So there is Bryce Underwood, the 4th freshman ever to start during his true freshman year in Michigan. This was that true freshman year, and now, of course, a sophomore, the Detroit native, one of the stars of this program and the face of it at the moment, trying to take that step from year 1 to year 2. For people who tuned in late, Jake, what are some aspects that you'd like to see out of him early in terms of improvements from year 1 to year 2?
Well, one thing I'm certain we'll see is Bryce is so gifted. He's so talented. We saw that in flashes all throughout last season. But a key point this fall is those fundamentals, specifically the footwork in the pocket and the eyes, and especially when the pocket and protection gets leaky. So I want to see the offensive line protect and keep him clean. I want to see Bryce trust that protection, and then just operate this offense. We're told Jason Beck is implementing a much more simple scheme, a quarterback-friendly scheme, and we're going to see some of these new run schemes as well. It's going to be a big emphasis to see Bryce use his legs, maybe not as much so here in the spring game.
A little handed off on the opening play. Talk about Jason Beck. The run game was heavily featured at Utah last year, and historically he's had really good run games. That first handoff goes to Bryson Cusdall, who's kind of in the mix for that 3rd, 2nd running back spot as well. 76 carries last season. Definitely a name that we'll talk about in that running back rotation today.
First quarter, all thud. Second quarter on, will be tackling.
Underwood will roll out of the pocket on his first pass attempt, and he'll have to play it safe, tuck this one up, and go out of bounds.
So here's exactly what I was just saying is I'm really looking at this offensive line to try to hold up and keep him clean. There's going to be no blitzes by the Michigan defense today, but defensive line games are allowed, which you saw there, and that's what led to that leaky protection. But the athleticism of Bryce, the ability to get the edge of the defense showing up. Great athlete.
You mentioned tackling that opening quarter. If there was one, maybe credit Jonah Leah there, who's one of the transfers from Utah. Throw over the middle. It is caught over the middle. Good first grab there. Eli Owens making the reception. One of the tight ends in a relatively open tight end room.
And a good job threading the needle here by Bryce Underwood. It's just a confident throw, throwing over the middle on third down. But what you'll notice there, protection just held up enough. And let's see his feet. See his eyes getting all the way through his reads. Arm talent, that ball just jumps out of his hands. But it's really for Bryce, it just comes back to the basics. The talent is undeniable and unquestionable, but how he maximizes that talent is through the footwork, fundamental, and eyes, and a good job bringing it all together there on third down.
Gain of 16 there on third down. Of course, good to simulate that patience on third down plays as well, getting as much reps with that. Cusdahl takes another carry, his second of the game. Credit Bowles with the tackle there, simulated tackle right now, and Troy Bowles, son of Bucks coach Todd Bowles, going to be a key piece at linebacker. You look at Michigan and Utah. Of course, we're talking a lot about Utah last year, where Kyle Whittingham came from and what the offensive production was for Utah as well under offensive coordinator Jason Beck, who's now the Michigan offensive coordinator.
I think you're going to see a lot of similarities in the run game, but how you make up that 14-point difference in points is really going to fall on the shoulders of Bryce.
Utah put up some points in the Big 12 last year as that pass intended for Hogan Hansen, the other tight end on this Maize group, is incomplete. Hansen has proven his hands. He's flashed in the past. Credited with some good stuff and the opportunities that he's been given. He'll try it off the field. So now another third down situation coming up. They gained 16 the last time they were in a third down scenario.
Once again, let's watch Bryce's feet. Remember, the blue defense, neither defense is going to bring pressure. They're going to play split safety defense, so Bryce should know the coverage.
Got some good protection here. He'll go downfield, one-on-one, out of the reach just of Selesi Moa, the freshman from Utah. Leaping out, you see his speed there, creating some separation.
Yeah, and they're excited about him. This wide receiver room is extremely young. You see Bryce, a good job again, navigating the pocket. Nothing was open, and then there's the arm talent. Moa has a chance, uses his body, but wasn't able to come down with it. He did get his hand on it, but he had a step. I thought Bryce did a good job of giving him a chance, but it's important to note there's a lot of youth on this offense. Bryce, he's 18 years old. He's a sophomore. The two leading receivers, Andrew Marsh and J.J. Buchanan, both sophomores. And then that wide receiver 3 spot is up for grabs. Moa is one of those names that's been tossed around. Freshman, couldn't connect with Bryce Underwood there.
Yeah, Jake, you were just talking about Bryce Underwood and kind of that development. Offensive coordinator Jason Beck was telling us that every quarterback that he's had is a little bit different, so he's trying to tailor the offense to what he does well, what his strengths are, and not trying to force Underwood to be anything but himself.
And that's such an important point there, Jason, is, you have two philosophies. Some coordinators say, hey, this is what I do and we're going to do it. The best coordinators say, hey, what do I have? They're going to tailor this offense, to Caroline's point, to the strengths of Bryce Underwood and the strengths of some of their athletes, like you see there, Jordan Marshall.
Now he's got Jordan Marshall in his backfield, who's going to be that #1 running back for Michigan. 6.1 yards per carry last season, nearly 1,000 yards. That was his first carry of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the standard here in Ann Arbor is to have multiple great running backs. It was Justin Haynes on a Heisman campaign. He gets injured. And then Jordan Marshall looks like he could be a Heisman candidate this year. High-level talent. He's a future NFL running back. He'll be the bell cow to start this season. But as we said, we'll be keeping our eyes on number 5, the freshman, Savion Hyder, at points today.
All Big Ten second team. One of the hardest guys in the Big Ten to take down as well after contact. Hopping up the middle once again there. Again, no tackling in this first quarter. We will see tackling in the second, third, and fourth quarters.
And with no tackling, you thud, you tag off. So where you have to earn your money offensively, the offensive line needs to get pushed. That was a great job by the blue offense getting pushed there. Marshall wasn't touched until he was 4 or 5 yards downfield.
Kyle Whittingham has touched on the continued development of this offensive line. Some names are in today, some names are out. As Underwood steps up again here through the middle of that pocket that was collapsing on him. Maybe credit Trey Pierce there if you were to give someone a tackle.
And I want to hammer this point home because I think the viewers should be taking their eyes to the line of scrimmage consistently. This defensive line and defense in general is going to be exotic, multiple. They're going to run blitzes. Not today. It's a 4-down front. There's no pressures. The only thing allowed is defensive line games. So that should be an advantage to both offensive lines. But that time, the Maize defensive line won.
Marshall flips out as a receiver this time, makes the grab, and picks up about 5 yards. Yeah, you mentioned that D-line. That was Pierce, who we can credit with the last tackle. All Big Ten returning starter up there, but perhaps in one of the deepest rooms on this team. We look at the front 7 group. What other names standing out to you here? In addition, you see the transfer names, too.
Well, I'll just say, let's start big picture here, Jace. This was a big question mark. Michigan is losing a lot to the NFL and some to the transfer portal, especially in that linebacker room. But what's really encouraging is Whittingham came out and told us that he feels this defensive line is the deepest position group on the team. The position group to watch defensively is that linebacker room. Right now, other than Chase Taylor, those reps are going to be up for grabs.
Marshall still in the backfield, blocking for his QB Underwood this time, who rolls out, getting pressured, and he will scoot out of bounds.
The first down.
And Bryce Underwood playing this entire quarter. It looks like they are going to give him that first down and a gain of 8 that he needed on 3rd and 6. More potential breakout candidates and freshmen to watch. We won't see Carter Meadows arrive until the summertime, but you mentioned he's like an NBA player type body walking around. He's an athletic freak and going to be a phenomenal player in Michigan for years to come.
You won't see him today, but I'm confident you'll see him throughout the fall. Opposing offenses will see him. Carter Meadows, another 5-star. John Henry Daly, another guy that you won't see today as he's returning from his Achilles, expected to be cleared June 1st. He's an All-American talent to go on top of some of the other players.
Some trickery for the first time. Travis Johnson got a block on the outside and stepped up just past 35. To go back to John Henry Daly there. He had a phenomenal season at Utah a year ago. 11.5 sacks, 48 total tackles. Also played for BYU in his career. But like you mentioned, recovering from the injury after an all Big 12 year.
And to win in this league, you have to be able to win at the line of scrimmage. You have to be able to affect quarterbacks. John Henry Daly, one of the best edge rushers in college football. It's really encouraging to hear how he's progressing coming back from that Achilles, and if they can get him back to his playing standard, that'll bode well for Michigan.
Just kind of fits right in as Michigan runs up the middle here. Jake, you and I have just, we have our conversations, our dinners in the past, and remember one time we were chatting and we said if there was a program before Whittingham came over to Michigan that could fit in the Big Ten, it would be Utah.
Yeah.
And now, fittingly, Kyle Whittingham, not to say we're pretty good at manifesting together, but I think we are, comes over to Michigan along with his staff, and so you can see that style translate so well. It was a couple of decades of consistency with the Utes. I mean, you turn on a Utah football game over the last 20 years, and you knew what you were going to get out of each Saturday performance from them, what kind of effort they were going to bring to each Saturday.
I know this as a player. I lost to him twice early in my career.
There's a flip trying to get another 3rd down conversion. That was Marshall on the catch, but do they have enough is the question mark for the first down as we talk about some of the guys that came over from Utah and other transfers. J.J. Buchanan is one of the names, along with Celeste Moa, who got involved when the Maize was on offense. That pass, and he just couldn't quite haul it, but he's going to have a big career ahead of him. Jamie French transferred from Texas, didn't play a ton there, but opportunity could open up, and then Taylor Tatum as well. There's Buchanan.
Jason, we just saw a little bit of that trickery that you were referencing, and that's because offensive coordinator Jason Beck says that reputation for his offense is going to be really hard to defend. He wants every play to be a different formation. He told us he wants them to be balanced, attacking, and dynamic, and ultimately scoring points and protecting the ball. So hopefully these Michigan fans are going to see a team that can run the ball over 200 yards and pass the ball over 200 yards this fall.
And to that point, what that really means is they want to look complex to defenses with different personnel packages, formations, shifts, motions, but at the end of the day, you're still calling those same base plays, so it's simple in scheme.
Right on cue, more trickery. Underwood going to launch down the field, down the sideline, but just out of the reach of his intended target over there. Looking for Jalen Hoffman. The senior tight end was primarily on special teams last year, was leaking out after that trickery.
Yeah, and he had him, and this is the second deep ball where Bryce Underwood has had a guy downfield with a step. This time Hoffman was pretty open at the college level, and Bryce just couldn't connect with them Hoffman more of a fullback type role, but has some catching ability. I think one thing for Bryce, you know, one of the things that stood out to me last fall is a lot of the passes were on the same trajectory. He throws a great fastball, but on some of these deeper passes, especially to tight ends, he could benefit from putting some more air on it to let him adjust.
Underwood brought down in the backfield. That's Nate Marshall creeping back there.
And Nate Marshall is one of those guys that Whittingham highlighted as a potential breakout there on the edge. Dominic Nichols, Cameron Brandt. This time, Nate Marshall is working up against Evan Link, guy who's been a featured piece of this Michigan offensive line. That's just a great pass rush move. He gets right into Link's bodies. Link sits back on his heels and then uses his hands to get to the sack. That battle won by Nate Marshall, the sophomore.
You get toward the tail end of this opening quarter where Underwood's playing both teams. Throw over the middle that time and to trap it. And nearly hauled in, but incomplete. Last second effort from J.J. Buchanan. Again, showing they trust him in those contested catch scenarios. The transfer from Utah, he was with Coach Whittingham there last year at 26 catches, 427 yards, 5 touchdowns.
And he's a big body, so I'm sure Bryce Underwood trusts him in contested catches situations. And that's a really risky throw, Jace, especially here. It's in the first quarter. Now you got to factor in the mindset of Bryce Underwood. He knows he's only going to play one quarter. He's a competitor. He wants to showcase the growth that he's taken on this spring. But that's a throw, you know, come fall in the first quarter, you really don't want to make. It's just far too risky. Lucky that one didn't end up with an interception, but J.J. Buchanan, he almost came down with it anyways.
It was Chris Bracey who broke that up, by the way, to point out one of the defensive transfers coming in from Memphis, who was a starter in Memphis' secondary last year, had 2 seasons at UAB as well. So Chris Bracey, a name to keep an eye on, flashing there defensively against Buchanan. Transfer on transfer crime that time. And now flip it back over to the Maize team on offense. Once again, Underwood still a QB. Low snap, has to pick it up. Good protection. And the throw slips in and out of the hands of his intended receiver that time. Looking for Andrew Marsh, who is the returning leading wide receiver on this group. 651 yards a season ago, 4 touchdowns. And one of the best freshman wide receiver seasons we've seen at Michigan over the last 20 years.
Yeah, and these guys were a nightmare for opposing defenses to try to defend. I think Whittingham put it perfectly in our meetings this week. He said, you know, each quarterback has their go-to guy, and that's Andrew Marsh. They just happen to be always on the same page. That time just couldn't come down with the completion.
Might have been intentions for Marsh again that time, but it was deflected up at the line of scrimmage.
But what you're noticing here is, again, the pocket is leaky. Bryce Underwood, that is a quick drop. It's a quick passing game concept, and yet there's a guy right in Bryce's face, which shouldn't be the case in the quick game. It shouldn't be the case when we know the defense isn't bringing pressure. But it's just something to watch. It's not all on Bryce to get this passing game to the next level. It's going to be the offensive line trying to keep that clean pocket, and again, Bryce trusting that clean pocket when it applies.
Lugard and Opahi had the deflection that time, so now another third down scenario, and we'll see if they whistle it down. They get pressure once again defensively. That time coming from the backfield as Eno Etta got there.
Keep an eye on Eno Etta, another guy that Whittingham mentioned that they think they're 5 deep at D tackle, and Eno Etta was the first name that Whittingham mentioned from that group. 6'5", 320, he's a force, but how about the quickness too and the speed to try to run down Bryce Underwood? There's a standard here in Ann Arbor. We talk about the offensive line play, we talk about the running back play, but even going back to my time, we're going to talk to Chris Wormley in the third quarter, my co-captain, but the interior defensive line play has been to a high standard. Most recently, you had Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant drafted in the first round. Eno Etta is a guy that has waited patiently in this program. He's a senior now, an upperclassman, and I'd be looking for him to have a breakout season.
Absolutely. So we've seen Eno Etta make some good plays so far. Chris Bracey on the Maize defense, as Maize is back on defense now, maybe for a couple more plays in this first quarter. And he'll whistle down the Marshall run. He's looked good so far. We might not see him in the second quarter, so that'll do it for the opening quarter of play here in the Maize and Blue spring game in Ann Arbor. Been a fun couple of weeks here in Ann Arbor, and as a Michigan fan, this was last Saturday, right after the national championship victory, and returning to the Chrysler Center just next door. Dusty May, a historic year for the program. The national champs, and Caroline is with a special guest, Mike Boynton, the assistant coach for Michigan.
Yeah, Jason, I'm here with Coach Mike Boynton. And Coach, just how special was this last month and a half for you and the entire staff and the basketball team for Michigan?
It was incredible. Obviously, every team sets out at the beginning of the year to do the things that we did in early April. And to see the way our guys committed to doing that job, to being unselfish and to playing good basketball for not just our fans, for all the basketball fans, was really, really special and really, really fun to watch.
Do you feel like you learned something and the entire basketball team learned something throughout that playoff run that maybe surprised you?
I don't know. I mean, we played pretty consistently throughout the season. I think our ability to raise our level in the games that had the most on the line, when you think about the Elite Eight and the Final Four games, the way we dominated really, really good teams, goes to show you the commitment level of guys like Yaxel, Elliott, Adai, Perez, and then Wilt, Cheddar, Namari Burnett, Roddy Gale, guys who return. The emergence of Trey McKinney is something that I think Michigan fans will be excited about moving forward, and we're looking forward to finishing up the recruiting class this spring and trying to do it again next year.
Now, I know you weren't here in Ann Arbor when you did a lot of your winning in the postseason, but how special was it to just come back to this atmosphere and especially with the parade, get to be welcomed in a place like this as national champions?
Well, the parade itself was surreal. Obviously, I've watched a ton of them. I'm a big sports fan. I've watched the Yankees parade a ton. I'm a Giants football fan, New York Giants, and so I've seen a ton of parades. Haven't been a part of one. It takes a totally different meaning. Just the fans, these guys deserve this. It was since 1989 they had won one. And there's been a lot of success in between, but it just goes to show you how hard it is to win it all. And so credit to Dusty and the players for having a great commitment to the game plan. And obviously for our fans supporting us the way they did throughout the postseason run, whether it was in Buffalo, Chicago, or Indianapolis for the Final Four.
Hey, and also congrats to you and your entire squad on that national championship. Mike, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Jason?
Thanks, Caroline. Fun times here in Ann Arbor. On the left side of your screen there, Tommy Carr now in for Michigan, the grandson of the legendary Lloyd Carr, four-star recruit, number 6 player in the state of Michigan, and they are very high on him right now. Kyle Whittingham came out and said he's the number 2 guy right now.
Clearly, and comes from a strong bloodline, as you mentioned. He'll be playing for both teams here in the second quarter. And what you're seeing here is what Whittingham highlighted. A sneaky athlete. You know, you think Bryce Underwood, he's a great athlete. Tommy Carr, his athleticism really shocked the coaches and shocked the Maize defense here as well. Of course, everyone's going to have their eyes on Savion Hyder. And as soon as the defense overplays, it's going to be on the quarterback to read it out. Great job by Tommy Carr there on 3rd and long, using his legs to get the chains. How about the speed?
It's a gain of 16. Second time they picked up 16 on 3rd down. First time with Tommy Carr, and at QB mentioned how athletic he is. His family, super athletic. Of course, grandson of Lloyd Carr, but also grandson of Tom Curtis, who was a safety at U of M from 1966 to 69. And they go up the middle once again that time, and we're tackling now. The second quarter started, as you noticed.
And you're trying to tackle Savion Hyder, a guy that Whittingham said had the best contact balance of any running back he has seen. And remember, true freshman, early enrollee, put on 20 pounds of muscle. Really excited to see what he does in this game today, and excited to see what these linebackers, that's another position battle that is up for grabs, a chance to earn some respect from the coaches if you can bring down Hyder.
Hyder will take another handoff, and you see right there, Jay White on display, bouncing off of tacklers and that contact balance. I think he heard you.
The sheer mass of these Michigan running backs' legs. Jordan Marshall, thick lower body. Hyder running right through a defensive lineman, bouncing off a number of Maize tacklers. And that's what the running backs do. You get those gritty, tough yards to set yourself up for a 3rd and short.
Jordan Young eventually brought him down. But now he sets up the 3rd and short. We'll see if they go right back to him. We've also seen the deceptive athleticism of Tommy Carr utilized as well in a sneaky way so far. They go back to Hyder, and why not? Moving the chains.
So let's just take a look at this play. Look where he's contacted and look at those bonus yards, those yards after contact. He's going to get hit here right about at the line of scrimmage, but because of that lower body strength, he keeps his legs churning, and it takes 1, 2, just about 3 Maize jerseys to bring him down. You can see why the coaches are so excited for Savion Hyder.
Fellow freshman Caden Ketching is able to eventually bring him down. First look for U of M fans at both of those guys today here in the Big House. Hyder, one of the early enrollees, along with Carr. Carr going to throw it over the middle in the crossing route. It is caught by Jacob Washington. We'll see how much yards they give him. Washington played in a couple of games last season. Special teams, the Cheez-It Bowl, gain of 6.
Well, I just want to look at Tommy Carr here. It's not a big game, but watch how quiet his feet are in the pocket. Notice his eyes. He's looking all the way through his progression and then gets back to his check down. His feet aren't sped up. He's poised. That's a great job getting 5 yards on first down. You don't need to get them all there. For a freshman, he's really impressed the coaches, and it's those fundamentals that have stood out.
Hyder and Carr, the backfield duo right now. They give it back to Hyder. Dynamic duo at the moment, moving this ball downfield for the blue team in Carr's first drive after Underwood played for both teams in the opening quarter.
And this is where football is cumulative, right? When you get through your progression and are willing to hit your check down, that's a 5-yard gain on first down. It's not going to make the highlight tape, but all of a sudden it gets you into a third and manageable. And, you know, the defense did a good job of stopping the rusher there, but it gets you into favorable down and distances.
Jonathan Brown is the new running back in. Got a good block on that right side and squeaks inside of the 10-yard line on the 3rd and 5 carry. It looks like it's going to be enough to move the chains, set up a 1st and goal opportunity here.
Take a look at Evan Link here, big number 71. He's going to be a key piece pulling from that left tackle position. I think he has a chance to play inside if he wants to. A really valuable piece there up front on the offensive line, pulling all the way around and leading the way to get the blue team a 1st and goal.
See the offensive line last year leading the way for that rushing game that was, you know, 2nd most in the Big Ten when it came to rushing yards per game. When you bring Jordan Marshall back, of course, a lot of production coming back on this roster in addition to the transfers for Kyle Whittingham when it came to constructing this team this year, as Jonathan Brown takes another carry, the freshman from Westerville, Ohio, who came up from the state of Ohio to play for Michigan just like you did, Jake.
Jordan Marshall, like I said, Chris Wormley's going to join us in the 3rd quarter, a Toledo guy.
Yep.
Some good football in Ohio.
Got some good Ohio names in the booth today. Your dad in the booth as well. Another great Ohio name. Hyder back in.
Love to see him hand it to him twice here.
It's Carr keeping it. 2nd time he's trying to move out to that left side. And he'll squeak out of bounds just inside of the 5-yard line. There's some acceleration there for Carr that I think Michigan fans are seeing for the first time today, and it's pretty fun to watch.
There's the mesh point. Defensive end crashes in. That's Benny Patterson. Carr reads it out, but a good job just flowing to the football. Hats to the football there by the Maize defense, and sets up a fun little 3rd and goal here from the 4-yard line. It's a spring game, so why not go for it? I wouldn't be surprised to see him hand it off to Savion Hyder here, expecting to go for it on 4th down if they don't get it.
Yeah, Jake, one thing that I liked that Coach Whittingham told us about Tommy Carr was that he takes care of the football, but he's even more elusive than he saw on his high school tape. Nothing rattles him. Obviously, he has a rich football history, both his grandfathers on his mom and dad's side. So I think he's kind of built for these moments, as we've been seeing.
His brother C.J. Carr, probably a Heisman favorite. Looking like a future 1st-round draft pick there for Notre Dame. Also a great athlete, but I think it's important, too, because this offensive system is going to be built around Bryce Underwood's talent. The quarterback run, therefore, is going to be a staple of the run game. Tommy Carr has, like Caroline just said, has really impressed the coaches with his speed, his elusiveness, his feel in the pass game and the run game. It just gives another element for defenses to defend. If you think about football as a numbers game,
if defenses have to allocate 1 or 2 defenders to the quarterback run, that means a lighter box and more favorable numbers when you hand the ball off to Savion Hyder or Jordan Marshall.
Hyder back in at running back, so a lot of Jordan Marshall in the opening quarter for the blue team. A part of the top 20 returning production in the country this year. They flip it out to Hyder. First time seen him catch a pass, as Carr is now 3 for 3 through the air. And he gets down to about the 5-yard line, winding down this second quarter.
They told us one of the exciting pieces for Hyder is he's a great pass catcher too. Again, you got to be able to run the ball if you're going to be a 5-star running back, but he's a great pass catcher. That's going to allow Jason Beck to get into some 2 running back personnels. We might see Jordan Marshall and Savion Hyder on the field at the same time, with Hyder flexed out at the wide receiver position. But nonetheless, a good job by the Maize defense there, tackling him and forcing a field goal.
This isn't live, this field goal attempt, but Stuart Blake going to come on to attempt the 23-yarder from a relatively tough angle, and he squeaks that inside for the blue team. We talked about Bryce Underwood playing that opening quarter and what we saw out of him. The coaching staff told us a burning desire during the offseason, always watching film, voted in a landslide as a captain for his team. Here's what he pieced together in terms of film from that opening quarter.
Yeah, well, I know how these things work, but it's a spring game, so you take everything with a grain of salt. You're dividing the team in 2, some good, some bad. That was a beautiful 3rd down completion into a tight window. The legs, we know, are very important to Bryce's game. But then these are the things where Bryce can really improve on. A little basic out route to Hogan Hansen, he missed it. This is the one that he has to eliminate from his game. A dangerous throw unnecessarily on 3rd and long in the first quarter. Lucky that that one wasn't an interception, but by all reports, Bryce has made major strides this spring, and you alluded to it, the leadership has stood out as well, being voted a team captain.
Carr back in here, he'll roll out again. Pretty good coverage downfield, so steps out of bounds. And we talked about the returning offensive production, the targets that Bryce Underwood is going to have. Andrew Marsh, we've seen him displayed so far in this game offensively, and some of the others in that receiving core, new faces like Celeste Moa, some guys fighting for depth spots, and offensive production right up there amongst the top of the country.
Jordan Marshall back, number of these tight ends. Obviously, Marlon Klein will be drafted next week, but you got Zach Marshall back, Hogan Hansen healthy, Deacon Tonelli. Number of these offensive linemen played last year. Great pocket presence again.
When you say pocket presence, what are you looking for mentally out of whether it's Carr or Underwood?
Well, you can feel when a guy is sped up. You can feel when a guy's sped up, and I say Carr has real quiet feet in the pocket. It's 2 straight plays, not taking an unnecessary risk. Now 3 straight plays, taking what the defense gives him, and a nice catch there by Hogan Hansen. So here's the last 3 plays. Watch him boot out. He wanted to go to Hogan Hansen here, but you see a linebacker sink underneath, and a good job. Hey, on 1st and 10, I don't need to take a risk. Scrambles for it. Here's the pocket presence. He's going to get him into another favorable down and distance, and then hitting Hogan Hansen before scrambling once again right here.
Uses the speed to get out of bounds again. I think they might give him a 1st down, gain of 11 there.
Just operationally, Tommy Carr looks outstanding, and this is just high-level football right here. The defense leaves Hogan Hansen uncovered. Tommy Carr sees that, gets the ball out, and again, pocket presence, understanding the situation. 1st and 10, scramble, another 1st and 10.
He grew up around this program. Is there a sense as a true freshman, just a level of comfort that's maybe beyond most, knowing he understands what's at stake every time you step in front of these fans in this particular setting?
Oh, nice catch.
Simo, a beautiful grab there. So 1st time we see him really flash. They targeted him once in the 1st quarter. That's a gain of 11 for the transfer from Utah, who enrolled early at Utah, then hit the portal, came over with Coach Whittingham.
Youth to youth. Remember, Celeste Moa couldn't come down with that deep one down the sideline, but makes up for it with the highlight one-handed catch. But back to your point, Jason, I think it works both ways. There is a comfort. He grew up here, coming to the big house and hanging around the program, but what that also means is there's a certain level of pressure too. You have that last name, Carr. Again, his brother is one of the premier quarterbacks in college football, and yet what I see is a guy that doesn't carry any of that weight. He's really looking great operationally, leading both offenses.
You talked about his athleticism. He also played basketball in high school. right there, just no hesitation on the head side.
Just said the same thing. It's the decisiveness, and usually for young guys, they're waiting to see things come open. What Tommy's showing us right now is he's anticipating pre-snap where he's going to go with the ball. He knows Hansen is going to be open because they got that go ball outside, and the corner's going to sink underneath it, especially on early downs, first and second down. Take those underneath so you can get into favorable down and distance.
This time holding on to it a little longer as there's good coverage downfield, but he utilizes those legs once again. And it looks like he should have enough for the first down. +5 that time with about 7 seconds left in this opening half.
He's got one shot at the end zone here, a good opportunity to work situational football. I think the message here to Tommy Carr is you've done a great job moving both offenses. You're down in the red zone. You don't want to throw an interception, but hey, give your guy a chance. You got one play here before you send out the field goal unit.
Well, on first and goal, maybe the final play of the half. Gets it out quickly to the end zone. It's broken up in the corner of the backfield that time. Looks like it was Winston on the coverage there, was able to break it up.
But even the misses can tell us a lot. Again, understanding, hey, I want to just give my guy a chance. Here's the pump fake. He knows where he's going with it, and this ball needs to be high and outside, just where his guy can have a chance. Maybe a little late on it, but a nice, beautiful, tight spiral. Safe throw. I think Pyle actually had a chance. It went right through his hands, the freshman Jalen Pyle out of Texas. But, man, really impressive second quarter here from Tommy Carr, looking as good as advertised, leading both offenses.
Yeah, super impressive. And now the transfer from Pitt, Trey Budkowski, on for the 29-yarder. And that is off the mark, unable to tie the game. So 3-0, the blue team leads it at the end of the opening half. We're going to talk more about this program and what the fall could look like when we come back, talk about the schedule and more. Really impressive start so far for Tommy Carr. Saw some good things at Bryce Underwood as well. Carr goes 6 of 8, 38 yards, and several rushing yards in that opening half. We'll have more coming up on the other side. Thursday, more spring football comes your way when the national champion Indiana Hoosiers take the field in Bloomington. Live coverage kicks off at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. This Saturday in Ann Arbor has a fall-like feel to it. Let's look ahead to the 2026 fall. Speaking of Indiana, Jake, Michigan will get the Hoosiers at home amongst other really key games at home here in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, we'll talk about that back half in the schedule where you're going to be playing 3 of the top favorites to win a national championship. You got Indiana at home. You go on the road to Oregon, of course, at Ohio State. None of those games need explaining. But I think we will know everything we need to know about this Michigan football team, especially the offense through those first 4 weeks. You notice you got Oklahoma at home, one of the best defenses in college football. You have Iowa at home, one of the best defenses in college football. Everybody is so excited to see year 2 Bryce Underwood, a great benchmark test for him to open at home in front of a friendly crowd. I think we'll be able to project what this season could be through those first 4 weeks.
Absolutely. That is going to be a fun start to the season. Had to go to Oklahoma last year, flip that this year, amongst other really fun games here in Ann Arbor. We will have more coming up on the other side. Coming up, it's a huge women's lacrosse doubleheader. First, Maryland takes on Ohio State. Then the Wolverines collide with Northwestern. Live coverage begins next on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Earlier in the week, we got to dial in with Michigan QB Coach Coy Detmer.
Blue. First read in the back. Got it. Take it. Nice job. No on the back. Slight step up. Boom. Drive it. Good ball, bro. Just climb. Just one avoid. So, like, I'm here in the pocket, good on my platform. Boom. Work the pocket, boom, and then stay on my platform. Just throw that thing away. Throw it away, and we'll live to play second down. Ready, dump it. Good. Nice job, Bryce. Yes, Bryce. Go. Don't Coos. Oh!
Well, you hire a financial advisor to protect your investments, Jason Ross. You hire a quarterback coach to protect your quarterback investment, Bryce Underwood. Coach Detmer, one of the key positional hires to steward year 2 of Bryce Underwood.
Boy's got one of the best mustaches and some of the best energy in the program. We have more coming up from Ann Arbor on the other side. Welcome back to Ann Arbor. Getting ready for the start of the third quarter after one half in the books for the 2026 spring game, wrapping up spring practice here in Ann Arbor. We got a very special guest joining us, Chris Wormley, the former Michigan Wolverine, 9-year NFL vet, and these two guys were co-captains at Michigan together, so some fun memories to go down here, guys. Just being up in the booth together, being in Ann Arbor together, how does it feel?
Feels great.
Yeah.
It feels like 2016 again, right? I mean, being back in the big house, being in Ann Arbor, and watching this new coaching staff come in and really implement it and kind of put their stamp on this team. You know, in spring, it's exciting. I'm excited for fall camp to roll around now. It feels like football, but I'm excited for what this staff can do with this team.
The only complaint I have is I normally feel large. Like I feel like a football player now around Chris. I feel like I'm in high school again. I mean, you're just so much bigger than me, stronger than me.
You look great. You look like you can still play. You can go out there and catch a few balls from Bryce. But it's exciting to watch this team, and it's good to be in the booth.
It's good to have football back too. Spring football, but it's good to have football back.
I still feel and look like I'm in high school with you guys next to me right now, just to make it, if that makes you feel better. Well, let's get the third quarter underway. And is Carr beginning it after a stellar second quarter? Just looked really smooth, really comfortable out there. Completes his first pass of the second half to Jamie French. We mentioned he's the transfer from Texas who appeared in 4 games for the Longhorns last year, actually played against Michigan in that Cheez-It Bowl, and now flip it over. He's in maize and blue and wearing the blue uniform today. And blue team up 3-0 after their lone field goal make from that first half. Carr going to take another snap, another good throw, another good catch from French that time. Bobbled it initially, then recovered. Chris, I'll bring you in here. Your impressions of Tommy Carr so far and this team in general through one half of the spring game.
Yeah, Tommy Carr looks really, really comfortable. Looks like he understands the offense. He understands what this team is trying to do. In that second quarter, I was really excited to see him lead both teams down the field and continue to make a mark as really QB2 for this team this coming season.
Get a 3rd and short here, and you know, I've seen a lot of Tommy Carr. I'm excited to see more of them, but I'll tell you this one, guys. I want to see them hand this one right off to Savion Hyder, and I don't care if everyone in the stadium knows it.
Saw them do that in short yardage situations in the first half. They do it again in the second half, and you see how tough he is to bring down, Jake. That's exactly what you wanted to see. Chris, what do you think about this upcoming replay here?
As a defensive lineman, I would hate to tackle number 5 Hyder here, but takes the handoff here, patient with his blocks, lets the blocks develop, and then keeps his feet moving through contact, and a really good pickup on 3rd down.
Worm, how often did a running back knock you back? Because from my recollection, I don't remember that ever happening, but it seems like Hyder is able to get push on some of these defensive linemen.
Yeah, it's happened a handful of times in my career, but when you got a guy like number 5 here, it's going to happen a lot to these defensive linemen, and you want to get him going. You want to tackle him before he gets his feet going, and that's where you can really make your mark as a D lineman making tackles against number 5.
Well, and to your point there, Worm, what I've seen, especially on these past 2 rushing plays, the blue offensive line is getting great push. They're doing a great job of getting that knockback up front, and that's only makes it more challenging because all of a sudden Savion Hyder has 6, 7, 8 yards of momentum to get his legs turning, and good luck bringing him down with that.
8 carries, 30 yards for him so far. Give him 9 carries and add on some yards to that total and add a first down carry.
Yeah, guys, I liked when offensive coordinator Jason Beck was telling us how talented Savion is and that he's going to be playing right away. And his favorite part about him is that he plays at full speed. He doesn't just ease into anything. So even if he's making a mistake, he's making it at full speed. And he said, that's great to work with because you can develop and teach other things, but you can't teach that, and that Savion has.
Quick throw this time. 3rd catch for French. 3rd catch of the half, which should be another first down.
Well, this wide receiver 3 spot is up for grabs. We obviously know Andrew Marsh, J.J. Buchanan's been highlighted, but Tommy Carr seems to have a great connection with Jamie French, the transfer from Texas, and great job there with quick hands. He gets this ball secured right away, breaks a tackle on Shamari Earl, and is able to fight for those extra yards. Quarterbacks love that when you can add those extra yards to their stat sheet.
Carr 9 for 11, 59 yards now. And they'll hand it off. Good room on that right side for Hyder, plowing his way ahead once again. Now, this is just a freshman, an early enrollee.
And he's lucky to have pullers. Watch these pullers lead the way. This is going to be a bread and butter part of Michigan's rushing scheme, pulling both backside offensive linemen and getting Hyder out in space. Once again, he's able to build that downhill momentum, making it that much more challenging to bring him down. I'm not seeing much push up front from this Maize defensive line.
You know, it's a longer drive now. They're having not as many backups and people to fill in and kind of replace and get fresh bodies in there. So when you have a long drive on the defensive side of the ball, you need players to come in and be fresh and be ready to roll. And as a spring game, the teams are divided. It allows for the offensive lineman to push on guys for 5, 6, 7, 8 plays in a row.
Yeah. And to that, I'd say, look, hey, I know you're tired. I see a lot of hands on the hips from the Maize defensive line, but this spring game, especially in the second half, is you're battling for playing time and opportunity. And I would tell all the young guys, no time to be tired. This is a chance to go impress the fans and impress Coach Whittingham for a chance to crack some playing rotation.
Carr, another quick decision over the middle, but in and out of the hands of his intended target. That time trying to connect over the middle with Tonelli. But as Jake noted there, Kyle Whittingham talked a lot about the battle for the 2s and the 3s and how important this second half will be in those position battles. Good throw, though, there.
Yeah, they've went to this in-breaking route again. They're going to show you 20% of the offense. We'll see 20% of the defense. This in-breaking route is going to be a key part of the offense, and they've been throwing to their tight ends. It's a beautiful throw into a zone window by Tommy Carr. Deacon Tonelli just not able to come down with it. Not an easy catch, but a catch you'd like to make, particularly on third down.
40-yard field goal for Stuart Blake, and that is good. He's 2 for 2 on the day. Tomorrow morning, you can catch some Big Ten baseball, Wolverines fans, when Michigan continues their series with Northwestern. 11 a.m. Eastern time start, 8 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the Big Ten Network. A little throwback here. So going to take you back, Kyle Whittingham, head coach of Utah. This is September of 2015, September 30, 2015. Jim Harbaugh's debut as Michigan's head coach. Jake, you had 8 catches, 93 yards that day. Was that your triple coverage catch?
That
right
was.
There?
Yeah, that was a first touchdown of the Harbaugh era. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But I can just tell you, Jason, you made a point earlier about how Utah is a team that kind of had Big Ten identities. Obviously led by Kyle Whittingham. That was absolutely apparent there in 2015 when we went out to Utah. That team was tough and disciplined and sound. We can expect the same here now with Whittingham leading the Wolverines. And I'd say that handshake, Whittingham to Jim Harbaugh, there's a lot of similarities in principle. I mean, 2 of the all-time great coaches, leaders. They preach toughness and discipline. Chris, remember that transition from Brady Hoke to Jim Harbaugh? What was that first spring like from your recollection in what Jim tried to do to implement a new culture?
I mean, it was 4-hour spring ball practices.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, and he split it up, so it was real. I mean, coaches were on the field for 6 hours.
Yes.
Players were on there for 4, and he wanted to implement toughness, bring back that Michigan culture that everybody knows and loves, especially if you're playing for the Wolverines. That was a tough spring ball, but it allowed us to grow and improve in ways that we were hungry for. We wanted that, and he brought that to Ann Arbor.
Yeah, and I remember too with how tough it was. I think all of us said, look, I'd rather have it tough and win. And when you hire a coach with that pedigree, you feel like you can win. Nice throw. Wow.
Really good throw over the middle that time, looking for Kendrick Bell, and he found him after we saw back-to-back catches from Celestia Moa. Speaking of Utah,
Tommy Carr continues to impress, and he's really doing such a great job feeling these zones. Again, both defenses are playing a lot of 2-high shell. It's very basic fronts, 3 down, 4 down. Tommy feeling that zone and doing a great job finding Kendrick Bell.
The gain of 16. Now they go back to the running game and creep inside of the 30. Let's go down to Caroline.
Well, Jake and Chris were just talking about Harbaugh and implementing his own culture. Well, Coach Whittingham implemented his own culture, and the biggest thing he implemented when he first got to campus was accountability. He told us, if we have a 7 a.m. team meeting, that does not mean 7 a.m. and 5 seconds. That means 7 a.m. He even told us that on one meeting on the first day of spring ball, there were a couple guys that came in a little late, and that was the last time that happened. So the team has a saying that everyone knows: you're either all in or you're in the way. And so that authenticity that Coach Whittingham really gives this team has started to rub off on them.
Yeah, I love that story too, because it wasn't a rah-rah moment. He wasn't trying to win. It was just matter of fact. He said, yeah, that never happened again. And what that really tells you is respect. Chris, remember our first team meeting with Jim Harbaugh? You could hear a pin drop in that meeting. You think it's necessary to have a healthy level of kind of fear even, but certainly respect?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the word respect comes to mind when you talk about Harbaugh. We came off of a 5-7 season. We were looking for somebody to bring in to win us games and to lead us in that right way. And in 2015, we went 10-3. So it was a respect, and we understood what was coming with a guy like Harbaugh.
Relatively speaking, guys, a lot of continuity coming back. We talked about top 20 nationally returning production. How important do you see that being when it comes to chemistry? And of course, we talked about Bryce Underwood. You know who your starting QB is as well for Kyle Whittingham.
That was true for us in that jump, and the jump to 2016. Continuity is extremely important. You look at the last 3 national champions: Indiana, a veteran team; Ohio State, a veteran team; Michigan, a veteran team. Obviously, this Michigan team is still young, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, but you can be young and still have continuity because a lot of these young guys, most notably Bryce Underwood as a freshman, played last year.
Celeste Moa is a player that Kyle Whittingham has known since he was 8 years old. Grew up in Utah. His dad, Ben, played tight end for Utah.
Mackey Award semifinalist too, Jason.
Absolutely. And now, I mentioned he jumped in the portal and came over to Michigan with Kyle Whittingham. So he's looked good in this quarter. He has 4 catches in this third quarter. Speaking of catches over the middle, that one just in and out of the hands of Kendrick Bell, who had a good catch over the middle earlier on in the quarter.
So we mentioned the youth of this wide receiver room. Of course, we saw what Andrew Marsh could do. Doesn't play like a freshman last year. J.J. McKinnon, the staff is extremely excited about. But then as you look down this list, obviously Kendrick Bell, an older guy, but Jamie French we've seen make some plays, sophomore. Celeste Moa, freshman. Travis Johnson, another name we've heard a few times, freshman. So this group is really young, but I'd say that bodes well for the future if this core can stay together.
He's got 4 receivers here, and this package is going to roll out. He'll opt to keep it. We saw the legs in the opening half. Gets inside of the 10 before they blow it dead with half a minute to go in this third quarter. Gain of 9 that time.
Well, here's one area that we could start to observe. Red zone scoring. We showed the difference in points per game between Michigan, about 27 points a game last year, Utah over 40. Well, field goals and touchdowns, that's a big difference. So far, it's been all field goals for both offenses. Fresh set of downs here with Tommy Carr leading the way. Let's see if they can get in a touchdown.
See if they try to get one more playoff in this third quarter. They do. They'll run it inside of the 5, where the defensive line gets more of that push that, Chris, you were looking for.
Yeah, so when the defensive line is getting a push, especially in the red zone, you're trying to hold them to 3 points or less. They're already in the red zone. They're already, looking at 3 points. You want to keep them from scoring touchdowns, and that was a great job with the defensive line for holding their own and getting a good stop there.
Love it. Coach Whittingham, his first time in front of these fans in Ann Arbor at the Big House. Made the blue team up 6-0. July 11th, it'll be here before we know it. The BTN Big 10K returns to Soldier Field in Chicago. Scan the QR code or register right now at btnbig10k.com to be a part of the 10K or 5K race and post-race tailgate party. That's always such a fun day in Chicago, a party around the city. A ton of Big Ten on display. And now on the 10th play of the drive here for Carr. Flips it over, and the ball is caught by Eli Owens, his second catch of the day, but a really good open field tackle.
And you're a good job, a little misdirection. There's been some boot action. Dump it down there to Owens. A nice tackle there, number 28. Noah Winston flying downhill. Safety group expecting to get Rod Moore back. Some opportunity for some playing time there, and Winston looks the part, certainly.
Maize.
Shout out to Chris
They're
Wormley
first
again
to
for
half.
hopping on with us
1 minute
and hanging out in the booth today. Your former co-captain here in Ann Arbor. What's been a good day in the booth in Ann Arbor, and a lot of fun vibes around here. Of course, we showed the national championship celebration for basketball. We had Coach Boynton on earlier and showed Dusty May and talked with Kyle Whittingham about the basketball team as well. And he mentioned how much they just play for each other and noted that mindset of the team being more important than your own individual needs. And he wants his group on the football field to have that same mindset that Dusty May's team had on the hardwood this past season.
Well, I'll just say this. It's always a good time to be a Michigan Wolverine, but it's a good time with Dusty May. The men's hockey team made it to the Frozen Four, and now Whittingham. The win total speaks for itself. Jason, the future is bright with Whittingham leading the way.
That's right. It's his first time coaching east of the state of Utah. The 2008 National Coach of the Year. We talked about the incredible consistency. It's almost eerie how identical the records are, actually, of Michigan and Utah over the course of those last 20 years or so. Now trying to stump it in right at the goal line. There's a better push that I know Chris Wormley likes to see from the D-line. As O'Meara stops short, Weidenbach leading the way in the midst of that time to force the 4th and goal coming up.
That's a great job by Weinbach. I saw Noah Winston in there, but Weinbach is the one that stopped him in his tracks and gives the defense a chance.
Oh, and tight errors once again. And the defensive line steps up once again. Big collision in the hole that time.
Wow. Oh, wow, wow. I couldn't quite see who hit him there. I think it was number 23 that came shooting through the hole.
Dabney, but then look out for Bobby Kenka in there as well.
Bam. Oh, baby. Yeah, Kenka and Babney, the two-man show, shutting down any scoring thoughts right away from the blue team. And this game remains without a touchdown. That is goal line defense there.
So heavy on the interior there, 6'4", 305. Bobby Kenka utilizing all of it that time to plug the middle. And he'll like that when they go back and watch the film here. So now Chase Herbstreit coming in at QB for the first time. Son of Kirk Herbstreit and Allison, who are both here today. And Chase flushed out of the pocket on his first play coming here in this 4th quarter. No game action last year, picks up 4 yards that time, and you see Cincinnati, Ohio native, 3-year starter at St. Xavier High School. And now coming in, the 3rd quarterback that we've seen so far today. Saw a lot of Tommy Carr, and Bryce Underwood played the 1st quarter and some change in the 2nd quarter as well.
Yep. St. X, known for their football, legendary Ohio high school program. Chase Herbstreit was the scout team offensive player of the year. And how about Kirk taking some time off from his busy fall schedule there with his wife, checking out his son. He texted me pregame. He said, yeah, it's much more nerve-wracking to watch from the stands than it ever was as a player. He said, I can understand and appreciate that. But he was texting me, said he loves the campus, walking around on the campus, super proud of his son, and this is what spring games are for, an awesome opportunity to see Chase operate the Michigan offense.
It's really cool. Some of the family lineage that's definitely littered throughout the course of this Michigan team, and the QB room in particular. Chase going to try to get out and lead up for a block that time. And flag does come out behind the play. On a long run up to about the 30-yard line here. Jonathan Brown on the carry.
Holding offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Watch this beautiful cutback by Jonathan Brown. Great job pressing the hole. The Maize defense overplays it, and you call that the waterfall method. You just waterfall right back around, and Kirk saying, hey, Chase, I think you're faster than I ever was. How about running out ahead and trying to get a block for his running back, Jonathan Brown? But it doesn't matter because there was a holding on Deacon Tonelli, number 88.
Love that. The 2 Ohio natives in the backfield right now with Chase and Jonathan Brown, the running back. Jonathan Brown, a true freshman, Westerville, Ohio native. He also played safety in high school. Going to take another handoff here. Gets cut down. That time a good tackle made by Adam Bazzi. Rochester Hills, Michigan native, who didn't play last year, but has had a couple of good flashes on the film today in the spring game.
Hey, Jace, you made a point earlier about Kyle Whittingham coaching. This is the farthest east he's ever been. Obviously, he's Utah through and through for the past few decades. But, you know, what I found really interesting, and this just speaks to his knowledge, his awareness, his greatness, why he's such a great leader. He's familiarized himself with the history of this program. And in fact, he did it before he ever knew he was going to be a head coach. He said he used to listen to the Bo Schembechler tapes. He's read the book. He's learned about Lloyd Carr and Jim Harbaugh, the legendary teams and legendary players. I mean, that's what better statement to reflect on a head coach that just gets it. He understands the opportunity. He spoke to this is one of the best jobs, in his opinion, maybe the best job in all college football. And he's really excited for here and hoping he can bring some championships to Ann Arbor.
Carr back in, deep throw on the sideline, incomplete. One-on-one coverage that time had intentions for Jamar Browder. You talked about Kyle and how much he goes back in terms of being a student of the game, and he's loving what Tommy Carr is doing so far in this one.
Jace, I think this is the throw of the day, and Jamar Browder is a guy I was really excited for, really excited to see what happened this spring. He had a ton of buzz, a big, strong wide receiver at 6'5", 215 pounds. He's a sophomore. You're hoping he can take that leap. That time he had a step. He just couldn't come down with it, but you can't throw a better ball there from Tommy Carr.
Again, another decisive throw, screen pass that time. And now still bouncing off tacklers, but then eventually swung down in the backfield was Jalen Pyle as we look at Tommy Carr's day and what he's done so far to this point.
Well, if there was an MVP for the spring game, it's got to be Tommy Carr. He's certainly earned himself a stake playing it for both teams. Put together some really long drives, and you know what I'd say too, he just looks comfortable for an early enrollee freshman. He's seems to have a high-level knowledge. I wouldn't quite say mastered, but it looks like it mastered this offense, and he's doing his job. He's taking care of the football and making some really nice decisions.
Good coverage downfield, got it off anyway. Good job to extend that play, and this time he does connect with Browder.
And there's another great example, right? You're on the plus side of the 50. It's 3rd and long. You don't need to force it. Maybe he could have forced it downfield, but instead he hits a little underneath route to his wide receiver, Jamar Browder, and what that does is it sets up a 4th and short, so you allow your offense a chance to convert. It's kind of a risk to get it all at once, but that's just smart quarterback play, and it earned him another opportunity, another play to potentially get a first down here.
One thing Kyle Whittingham told us is that he's way more elusive than the high school tape would indicate. And he's another guy who's always in the room watching film, studying his progressions. This time he will opt to keep it and run it. There's that elusiveness right on cue that we talked about, but a late flag on the near side of the field. So we'll see what that's for. In a good situation right now for Carr with the one timeout. And the Maize side down 6. His closing moments of the 4th quarter.
Once again, though, it's a quick game. Nothing there. It's going to be on the blue team.
Number 15. A 10-yard penalty is enforced from the end of the run. First down.
If you didn't know Tommy Carr was a freshman, you'd think he's an upperclassman, right? I mean, you can't teach boys like what he's demonstrated today. He's generated a lot of buzz this spring. It was very early on that Whittingham said, yeah, he's clearly our number 2. And proving why the coaches are so high on him and why he has such a bright future here in the spring game.
I'll hand it off this time to O'Mara, and he gets inside of the 10, down to about the 6-yard line.
I know Winston showed up again.
Yes.
We've highlighted a lot of Tommy Carr, a lot of Savion Hyder, the offensive players, but Noah Winston there, number 28, he started to rack up a number of different tackles. Good pursuit there, forcing the ball carrier out of bounds.
Talked about Taylor Tatum, who transferred from Oklahoma. Rod Moore, their captain, is not playing in this game today. Their multi-time captain, fifth-year guy. In that secondary as Carr is going to roll out again, trying to keep this one alive to the end zone, out of the reach of Pyle.
I think Pyle was held there as well. Here's the quiet feet, the poise, understanding you're in the red zone, don't need to force it. There's no pressure, so why rush it? And you see the hold right there, right there. Pyle was able to separate, but it was that little hold, that little jersey grab, and otherwise you're looking at a touchdown. The officials did not throw a flag.
Stakes are on the line. Literally, the steak that you could have after the game is on the line. Or hot dogs, or in the words of Coach Whittingham, nothing.
These guys got NIL deals, so they're probably just buy themselves steaks anyways. Different than my days.
Bypassing the hot dogs. High throw, that time out of the reach of Pyle. Now third down coming up. Down 6 for the Maize team with 3:23 to go.
Now, I just want to revisit this point here, too, because, you know, it's spring game. You know, we're all going to get excited. We have football that we can go back and watch film on, but take everything with a grain of salt. The Michigan defense is showing you 10% of what they'll do. It's a lot of split safety coverage, even front, no blitzes. The offensive playbook is going to be very simplified, so we're going to get excited about Tommy Carr and Savion Hyder, some of these players, but you got to take it all with a grain of salt in a condensed spring game.
Talked about some names that won't be in the game today, but will be here arriving in the summer. Carter Meadows is one of them we mentioned earlier. 5-star on the edge, incredibly bright future ahead. You see some of the other names as well there.
Yeah, I mean, Carter Meadows, I mean, he's a guy, again, a 5-star freshman. He doesn't look like he's coming out of high school. He is a freak of absolute nature, and he's joining a deep defensive line group. A rising tide raises all ships. That competition is only going to make him better. You know, another guy we haven't mentioned that isn't playing and I'll have my eyes on is Andrew Babaloa, a 5-star tackle that was looking like he was going to earn the starting left tackle job last year. Looks dominant, almost like he'll be an NFL draft pick. I know Whittingham was excited about what he's seen there. His recovery is going well. He's not playing today, but on track to be healthy for the season. Just a different type of athlete at that left tackle spot. And, you know, it's worth mentioning, too, with the offensive line coach, Jim Harding, when you give him talent, he is going to develop and produce high-level offensive line play. There's going to be 2 Utah offensive linemen selected in this year's NFL draft in the first round. Babaloa has first-round potential. It would benefit the Michigan offensive line to get him back healthy.
5 stars over the last couple of years: Bryce Underwood, Carter Meadows, Savion Hyder, and Babaloa. So now Carr will roll out. We'll see if they blew that one dead or not. The blue team celebrating as if they did have the sack there.
Looked like a sack to me.
It did. Nico Andrighetto was in the backfield. And Jake, you mentioned the O-line and the strength staff as well. So important when it comes to the push in the trenches.
Yeah, they mentioned the strength coach. I mean, that's one of the key hires for any program, but Kyle Whittingham brought in Doug Eliasea with him, a guy that's been with him at Utah for a few decades. And remember, Ben Herbert was a key piece of those Michigan national title run, the 3 straight Big Ten championships. They feel they have one of the best strength staffs in the country here in Ann Arbor, and the players have echoed that.
Carr looks to his right, now going through his progressions, a lot covered up in the end zone, throws it to the back of the end zone, and it was a joust for it back there. A good battle from Jalen Pyle, but ultimately broken up.
But
Chukwu on the coverage.
And even the misses tell a story, though, Jason. I mean, this is what you're taught as a quarterback and as a wide receiver. When you're throwing on the back line, they say back line, hairline. You want those back line throws to be up top. That way, if you miss those throws, it's low risk. When it's to the front of the end zone, you want to be a low throw to protect your wide receiver and pass catcher. There's Tommy Carr. Again, the poise. He's not rushed. There's nothing there. There really wasn't anything there. But a nice location on the ball, giving his guy a chance. And if nothing else, preventing the defense from forcing a turnover. Just great location, awareness, execution across the board from Tommy Carr.
You mentioned that strength staff. Doug Eliasea coming over from Utah, directing that staff. And you noted how important it was in the national championship year when it came to what the strength staff helped that group do in 2023. And building up these guys. We talked about Hyder and how he's already gone about building up his body in his own process, adding 20 pounds, but credit that staff as well, of course, and no body fat added in the midst of that 20 pounds for Hyder.
Well, and what Coach Whittingham told us, he said, look, mental toughness is built in the weight room. You got 15 spring practices, and then the rest of the time is spent lifting weights and conditioning. You're developing and preparing your body before fall camp. So a lot of your team progress is built in the weight room.
Here's the schedule you're prepping for. We talked about the beginning of it starting at home and crucial games at home. The reigning national champs, Indiana, coming here. You look at the start, Oklahoma. You had to go to Norman last year. Now they come here.
And I love that we included the Big Ten Championship there December 5th because, as it should be here in Ann Arbor, that's the expectation. That's why you go get a guy like Kyle Whittingham. But, you know, last year the schedule set up really favorably for Michigan. They got to 9 wins, had a chance to get to the playoffs, came up a bit short, lost to Texas in their bowl game. This schedule, this is the Big Ten these days, nothing easy. All championships will be earned as they're playing 3 of the top teams in Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State.
Herbstreit back in at QB now. To talk about more on Kyle Whittingham. His teams at Utah, top 15 nationally in scoring and defense over the last 20 seasons. They took the ball away defensively at an extremely high rate. Consistently didn't allow opponents to run the ball against them.
Tough, disciplined, smart, intelligent. Both coordinators spoke to. They want to have a pre-snap schematic advantage. Another thing that Jay Hill told us is, hey, we want to confuse opposing quarterbacks. We're going to mix in coverages, blitz packages, fronts. But what I loved how he closed is, hey, but also at Michigan, sometimes you're just going to be better than your opponent. And when that's the case, we're just going to come right at you and beat you up. So they have the ability to win with schematics, but the awareness to also say, hey, Michigan, you're going to bring in a different level of talent. When that's the case, especially on the defensive side of the ball, nothing cute is needed. They're just going to get after you and win with physicality.
Take a look at that defensive coaching staff. You mentioned Jay Hill there, the new DC here at Michigan, was calling the defense at BYU the last few seasons. And as you noted there, his Cougars teams were known for those disguised zones and playmakers in the secondary, also amongst the top of the nation when it came to takeaways. He did the reverse of Kyle Whittingham in that he graduated from Utah but then coached at BYU. He also spent 12 years on Whittingham's staff at Utah in different roles. He was a corner at Utah as a player.
And there he was talking to Kerry Combs with the crystal white hair. Special teams coordinator, very important piece of team success.
There's that trickery we saw earlier but doesn't work out that time. Defensive lines on both sides starting to get a bit more of a push and reach up the middle. See Travis Moten in there, that time 6'6", 315, the sophomore from Louisville, Kentucky.
Here's a weird thing for you, Jason. I bet that hurt and also felt good for Chase Herbstreit. You know, hey, it never feels good to get hit, but you know, you kind of miss football. There's not a lot of live periods during spring ball. Hey, part of football is getting hit, so I know he would have liked to rip one there on the trick play, but good job there by the Maize defense. Coming up with the sack.
That Kirk Herbstreit watching here at the big house. So now the Maize team, Tommy Carr take back over here. down 6 with 1:52 to go. Kind of a 2-minute drill situation to close it out. Perfect scenario for a spring game.
Yeah, can't wait to see it. I mean, look, they're on the plus side of the 50 here, the 44-yard line, so maybe not quite a 2-minute situation. You know, if I'm Tommy Carr, I wouldn't change anything. I'd operate exactly how I've been operating throughout the game. I'd say keep an eye on number 20 up top of your screen, Jalen Pyle. That's been the go-to guy here late in the game.
Has to recover after initially dropping that snap, then makes the smart play to just throw it away. Carr on the day, 16 of 25, 99 yards, just shy of the century mark with 100 seconds to go.
The stats don't tell the full story. I mean, there's been some drops in there. He's affected the game with his legs. Overall, he's just operated the offense and moved the ball really well. All right, Jalen Pyle, top of the screen, white tights, Jamar Browder in the slot down here on the hash.
Quick throw down the seam, and he was looking that time for Browder. He's got him.
Catch.
Great catch from Browder, showcasing the toughness that time.
Well, that's what you love about Jamar Browder. It's that big frame, 6'5", long arms, jumping ability. A dangerous throw here, a real dangerous throw. Lucky that one wasn't picked off, but Jamar Browder with a nice strong catch.
Another quick throw to the sideline. It's Eli Owens on the grab, his 4th catch with 1:28 left in this 4th quarter, in this 2-minute drill.
And number 26, Taylor Tatum, the safety, had a real chance to make a big-time defensive play and force a turnover. Wasn't able to do it, and an excellent catch by Jamar Browder.
Gain of 6, getting down in the red zone now. Throw to the sideline is caught again. Eli Owens again over on the sideline.
I just love these out routes. I mean, again, they're not showing up on a highlight tape, but the defense is showing that look and giving Tommy Carr these little underneath routes, and Tommy Carr is happy to take them. You don't go broke taking a profit. Watch the cornerback sink right here. His eyes are on the go ball. Good outside release by Pyle, but Tommy Carr is perfectly happy taking these underneath routes to continue moving the football.
Take what's given. That's what you told me at halftime, Jake, what Carr was doing so well in the first half. Now we're seeing it in the most important drive of the game, trying to lead the Maize team down the field here. That one was caught by Pyle. Another pickup of 6, another quick throw. It's Pyle again.
Again, notice the location too. Throwing on the right shoulder, tight spiral, friendly. Still waiting for that first touchdown of the day though, Jason.
You got Browder in the bottom of your screen again. They opt to run it this time, get down to about the 1-yard line. Robbie Kanka makes the tackle. Remember, Kanka was big when it came to that 4th and goal stand. The last time the Maize team was down here, he had the tackle that stuffed him and kept him out. So battle down here once again. Who can win round 2? They'll go to the edge and just short once again.
Let's build the hype here. A touchdown wins it. Blue up 6-0. Maize, a touchdown, an extra point would win it. This is what it takes. Straining, bodies flying around, meeting each other at the 1-yard line. Let's see what happens.
O'Meara, this time he is in! And the Maize team will storm the fields and take their stakes.
And I think they were shotgunning a Gatorade there to celebrate as well. Just keep knocking, keep knocking, keep knocking. That's the advantage of these long drives that Chris Wormley talked about earlier. Every play wears on the defense and makes the next run play a little bit easier. Great push up front. You're always taught as an offensive guy, if you score with your man, the running back will score behind you. That's an excellent block. I believe number 67, Houston Torres, clearing things out and leading the way.
So Trey Butkowski going to come on here.
It all comes down to this.
The leg of Butkowski, the transfer from Pitt.
You don't want to tie because what happens to the steaks and hot dogs? Got to make this.
Butkowski,
whoa,
able to split the uprights cleanly, and I think those steaks will be medium rare tonight.
Yes. There we go.
Love the celly from Hullenbeck.
Well, look, I mean, let's see if Chase Herbstreit can put something together here.
Still got 17 seconds.
You need about 30 yards to get into field goal range. 17 seconds. You say you got 3 plays, so you probably got maybe 2 or 3 opportunities to get down there.
Herbstreit immediately has to step up and throw it away. Now down to just 11 seconds left. That last drive for Carr went 9 plays, 44 yards, a minute 35. Significantly less time to work with here now for the blue team. Little help though.
Oh my.
Please reset the game clock to 17 seconds. 17 seconds.
And add 6 more seconds onto what you're seeing now, so 17 seconds. Yep. Some good situational football down the stretch here.
Yep, about 25 yards to go now for a field goal opportunity. The wind is in their face. Free play.
Yeah, there was a jump on that right side.
Oh, they didn't snap it.
No, looked like
One
it
of
was
those.
Nate Marshall.
You got to reach out and touch them or snap the ball. Defense gets back on side.
Marshall got back on side. Quick throw over the middle, and that is caught. Down to the 40 they go.
All right, Herbstreit's calling for a spike here. Really nice job sitting in that zone by Deacon Tonelli. Good pass by Herbstreit. Never mind, they're not going to spike it.
Gonna run up here. Clock is at 10 seconds. Herbstreit, another throw that time was pressured and had to let that one go. It'll leave 4 seconds on the clock.
So that's a situation where you can't throw it out of bounds just because of the time. You're going to have to find a way to spike it. I think the running back was sitting right there, number 29, Jonathan Brown. If you're Chase Herbstreit, you just like to throw it at the running back's feet so it's legal, but that air time cost him time. Now with 4 seconds, you're in a Hail Mary situation. See him winding it up because he knows he's going to spin this one deep.
He's got 4 receivers with 4 seconds left. Pressure comes from Marshall. He stretches out. Now he'll wind it up to the end zone, and it's batted down. So the stakes will go to the Maize team, thanks to a 9-play, 44-yard drive and a little situational football down the stretch here in the 2026 Michigan spring game. And some good film to celebrate bragging rights, closing out these spring practices.
Well, the season will be here before we know it, Jason. Spring game is always fun. A chance to get out there and compete. Stakes literally on the line. See, Chase Herbstreit gives this guy a chance here. Just spins it up. Just good disciplined defense. Bats it down. I believe that's number 39, Reyes. But obviously the standout performer today was Tommy Carr. Undoubtedly looked outstanding. You got a chance to see Savion Hyder. I mean, boy, the future is absolutely bright. Put the Big Ten and college football on notice. It's going to be a handful to try to bring him down. But that'll kick off the first spring period of the Kyle Whittingham era, Jason. I'm pretty excited for the future.
It's fun that we got a day that kind of feels like fall today.
Yeah, it did.
It does.
I'm ready for summer, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's get to that first, and then we get to fall ball.
Yeah.
So take a look at what the fall will look like around here. A lot of home games to begin it. Western Michigan, Oklahoma, UTEP, and Iowa, all in Ann Arbor to begin the season September 5th. Then you go to Minnesota, get that bye week. Penn State, reigning national champs, and Indiana come here. So you get to the second half of the schedule.
It's a dense schedule. I mean, there's a lot of really good teams. And another thing interesting, a lot of change in the Big Ten. Penn State with a new coach, Michigan State with a new coach, UCLA with a new coach, Michigan obviously with a new coach. All these new regimes come in and it creates a sense of urgency. On top of all these teams, look, it's new rosters, it's college football, there's a lot of turnover. It's a wide open Big Ten A lot of parity in this conference. Of course, Michigan wins the national title, then Ohio State, then Indiana. College football runs through the Big Ten. I'll say that definitively and confidently. And a fresh start there this fall for Michigan to get back to a championship standard.
Let's go down to Caroline with Coach.
Well, Coach, you told us a successful spring game was going to be seeing who your playmakers are today. What did you think and who stood out to you today?
I thought we had a few people that did a nice job. Tommy Carr, the quarterback, I thought showed a lot of poise. Should still be in high school right now. He's an early grad, so what he was able to do under these conditions I thought was very positive. Savion Hyder, I thought ran the ball hard. Made a lot of plays on defense. So not a lot of offense today, but some good takeaways. Very clean game, not a lot of penalties, 0 turnovers, which I guess doesn't bode well for the defense. But I think we got to accomplish what we wanted to, and came away healthy, which is the biggest thing.
Always the biggest takeaway in a spring game. What did you just think? I know you mentioned Tommy Carr, but just between Bryce Underwood and Tommy Carr, what do you think about that inter-competition, just being able to push each other and really get to that next level in the quarterback room?
Competition is always a good thing, but Bryce is our guy right now. He's a guy that's got a ton of upside. We believe Tommy does too. But coming out of spring, Bryce is obviously going to be number one. Still got some work to do. But, it's healthy. We'll also add another quarterback this summer, so we'll have one more to the mix. And we just got to continue doing what we're doing. The team building this summer will be huge. What the players do on their own with the player-led practices, that'll be an important thing as well. We got to hit the ground running when fall camp comes on August 5th.
Well, Coach, I know you were a winner today no matter what, so you go enjoy your steak. We appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, fun stuff, and Kyle Whittingham continuing to get introduced to this Michigan fan base after a stellar couple of decades at Utah. Going to translate that success to Ann Arbor. This was a fun first preview of what the fall will look like here at the Big House. That'll wrap it up from Ann Arbor. Women's lacrosse coming your way at 4 Eastern when Ohio State faces Maryland. For Jake Butt, Caroline Hendershot, I'm Jason Ross Jr. saying so long.
With that, welcome you inside our Big Ten Network studios in this Big Ten Live spring football game break. Rick Pizzo alongside Howard Griffith after our unofficial first look at the Kyle Whittingham era in Ann Arbor. We know he's been there for a couple of months. He's an established head coach, but it is different, Howard. He had been at Utah for more than 2 decades. He was not the guy that a few months ago Michigan fans expected to be leading the Wolverines, but after some seismic change, what do you think he wanted to get out of this spring and specifically this spring game?
Well, I think ultimately you want to come out healthy and be healthy, but you also want to implement your system, offense, defense, and obviously special teams as well. But I think when you look at what the calling card is ultimately going to be for this team, it's going to be about physicality and toughness up front on both lines of scrimmage. And we saw that down the stretches. They wanted that long drive that they were able to run in for a touchdown. This is going to be a team that they're going to solidify things up front and become a dominant force in that area.
All eyes on 2 men in Ann Arbor. Kyle Whittingham, though, he's pretty even keel, so there's not a lot to watch. The other, of course, Bryce Underwood, as we take you to Ann Arbor for the Maize and Blue spring game. Whittingham, he's been there, done that, just not with this particular color scheme. Underwood had himself a very quiet day, didn't play a ton, completed this 15-yarder over the middle to tight end Eli Owens, just 3 of 9 on the afternoon. There were some great spots in the run game. You know Jordan Marshall is going to be there, a guy who we've seen in years past and obviously has a ton of upside with a nice gain here. And then how about Savion Hyder? Lots expected of this young fella.
Really a young man to be excited about when you think about his ability to not only get the pads down, be able to run behind him, but that's one of the things that's going to be a calling card for him. He's difficult to bring down. His leg drive and his lower body strength is going to be a big benefit for that offense.
If you were watching the end of our broadcast, you heard Kyle Whittingham talk about Tommy Carr. Nice catch there by Celeste Moa. Carr looked really good. It's hard to believe this kid is supposed to still be in high school. The defense, though, was the star for a long time in this game. In the fourth, the Maize team with a 4th and goal. Bobby Kanka, Markel Dabney come up with the monster stop, but wouldn't you know it, Kyle Whittingham, he's the one guy who couldn't lose in this game, but the Maize would get it done late. Thomas O'Meara, the only touchdown of the game with 17 seconds to go as the Maize wins it 7-6. The Maize will feast on filet. Not sure exactly what the Blue get to eat on Saturday afternoon. It was mainly a defensive showcase, and a lot of times, Howard, you've played this game, covered this game for a long time. In the early stages, the defense is typically ahead of the offense.
Particularly when you're installing new schemes. The defense usually gets an opportunity to react, and those guys are usually ahead of schedule because they get to, really move things around. I think one of the things that when you think about this team and what Coach Whittingham has already talked about throughout the spring is just how good he is on the defensive line. He believes he has 5 defensive tackles, 5 guys at defensive end that are going to help this team be able to win. And we saw a lot of that show up in this scrimmage. Defensive players making a lot of plays, and that's a good place to start because you know that they're going to get that offensive line going because they're going to have some competition to go against each day in practice.
I guess that is the question, right, with Bryce Underwood. What do we want to see in terms of his progression? Because it's not easy for a young man who had the expectations he had as a freshman, and then you have a brand new system, you have a brand new OC, you have a designated quarterback coach, but you are dealing with more change in year 2 than you would have expected.
But one thing that's good for him is he's a hard worker. No matter what anyone else is doing, he's going to be putting in the time, and that's going to be an important part. Where does he have to continue to improve? Mechanics. He has to start at the feet and come all the way up. He's going to continue to get better by having that dedicated quarterback coach, which he didn't have a year ago. That should help him. And also a young man in Carr who's really going to continue to push him. He's the starter. No doubt about it. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder, but it's great when you have that competition in the room because now you guys can feed off of each other and can get better as quarterbacks, both of them.
Kyle Whittingham made it very clear to Caroline Hendershot. It was a good question that Caroline asked about Carr because he was terrific, but Kyle was very quick to say, regardless of what happened today, regardless of how good Carr looked, Bryce Underwood is our guy. We can talk about the Michigan quarterback. We'd rather hear from him. So to do that, let's send you back to Caroline in Ann Arbor.
Okay, Bryce, I know this wasn't a true game-like scenario for you today, but what did you see from not only yourself, but also your teammates today that got you excited for the fall?
Of course, I feel like overall, those teams were divided right now, but I feel like everybody was rooting for each other no matter which team, Maize or Blue. So.
Now, we were talking to your offensive coordinator earlier this week, and he said he's been trying to tailor the offense to fit your strengths. How much more confident and comfortable have you felt with this scheme?
I feel like that's amazing because overall my mindset is to do whatever my team needs. So I feel like that's just a blessing to have as a coach, blessing to have teammates like that as well. So.
And what's that one step that you want to make in your own game ahead of fall?
I say really bringing self-confidence up, like among the full team overall. I feel like that's my main mindset right now, main goal.
We appreciate the time. Can't wait for the fall.
Thank you.
Speaking of the fall, it starts at home against Western Michigan. At home is actually one of the key phrases for Michigan this year. Look at this schedule, Howard. They go on the road exactly once before Halloween weekend. Now, it's never easy no matter where you play teams like Oklahoma, Iowa, Penn State, Indiana. But the Wolverines have a chance to pick up some quality wins and do it in the big house.
Yeah, and to think about being able to get that stuff done at home is impressive for them. First 4 there, and they can start to build that momentum and get an opportunity to see what this team is ultimately going to look like having the home crowd behind them.
And then a pretty loaded back end, including road trips to both Eugene and Columbus, and those come within a couple of weeks each other late in the year. But obviously, if Michigan is taking care of business before then, you have a lot of built-in equity before you have to play 2 of the toughest games on your schedule. In case you are tuning in for women's lacrosse, it is coming your way next here on the Big Ten Network, just about 5 minutes away from Maryland and Ohio State. If you like goals, you want to pay attention to Maryland's number 8, Lauren LaPointe, with 50 goals already this season. We send you to Columbus women's lacrosse, coming your way in just 4 minutes. Well, Ohio State focuses on women's lacrosse. In that one earlier in the day, it was the spring game for the Buckeyes. There's Jackson Smith in Jigba. He's turned out to be pretty okay
in the
NFL. Super Bowl champ. I would say there's a good chance Jeremiah Smith follows suit, picking up that completion from Julian Sayin. And then Sayin as well, showing off a little bit of that escapability and some newfound speed. The Scarlet team, also known as the offense, jumps up front 7-0. Now it's Sayin stepping up in the pocket. Fundamentals are so good. Finding Nate Roberts for 20 yards. That's a first down. Few plays later, the one mistake Sayin made, this one right here, it's deflected, and Bo Atkinson, the big fella, is there off the redirection for the interception. Later in the first, Tavian St. Clair in at quarterback, finding Chris Henry. Like so many Ohio State wide receivers, he was wide open. And then it's Jacoby Jackson getting tackled by Eli Lee, Sincere Johnson. The defense, once again, the star in this one is the great defense beats the Scarlet O 35-26. Some more scoring plays in that Ohio State game than we saw in the Michigan game, but we start in the same spot, and that's the quarterback position. Julian Sayin had such good moments last year, but made a few mistakes at critical times for Ohio State. He was very hard on himself after the loss that ended their season. But as I said in those highlights, the one thing he can always rely on, his footwork, his fundamentals. He's a little bit, I would say, underrated in terms of his athletic ability, but those solids and those fundamentals are just so good.
Yeah, you think about a man that was in the middle of the Heisman conversation for most of the year last year, and when you look at his fundamentals, you look at his ability to throw the football and understand what defenses are trying to do, he's going to have a chance to take that next step. Changing offensive coordinators be huge for him, but I think he'll be challenged in that way. Much like the defense was challenged with those outstanding players that they had last year, I think you can start to look to see some of those same type of traits happen with the offense at Ohio State.
You mentioned the new offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, whose experience is basically NFL only, but it's high-level experience. Been a head coach, been an OC at the highest levels, and he has so much talent on that offense to work with. We saw Smith. We know what they have at running back, but Chris Henry steps in. I mean, you have so many guys that you can go to. It is truly like a playground for an OC with the background of Smith.
Yeah, you think about having Chris Henry Jr. It's outstanding. Another 6'5", big, tall, physical wide receiver, and he's going to make a push at that number 3 wide receiver spot. Look at him going up and attacking the football with his hands was one of the things that you always like to see and always see from Ohio State wide receivers. He had a drop, but I think he is going to be outstanding for them. Talking about being able to spread the field and move players around, Smith will be that guy this year. I think that they'll move him all over the place to try to create some of those matchups that the offense will need.
What do you think will be different for Ohio State heading into this year, coming off that playoff loss, in comparison to the way that Ryan Day handled it coming off the national championship? Because he admitted he did things differently after the national championship. He's going to go back to the drawing board because whatever he did differently, it didn't end up with the same outcome for Ohio State.
Yeah, I think what they were able to do last year, particularly on the defensive side, that's why I go back there. And with Smith being the new offensive coordinator, those are huge because he still can be the CEO of this program. He knows what he wants, but he also knows that he has to test the young people that he has. These guys are talented. So the way to test them is to make sure that they're doing different things each and every week.
Last year's NFL coordinator hire, Matt Patricia, that worked out,
good.
I would say. Okay, that'll wrap things up for this Big Ten Live game break. Ohio State, Maryland, women's lacrosse coming your way right now.